Welcome back, boys and girls. And today, for the very first time, I'm going to be shooting my rifles with bipods. I've never shot it with bipods before because I really didn't need it to. But I am seriously considering to hunt in Midwest, hopefully maybe next year or year after. So I might get used to with bipods. Here are two bipods that I bought. The first one is from Harris Bipods, and I bought this at Buzz Gun Shop for $64. And the height is from 13 to 23 inches. And I bought this for sitting position. And the second that I bought was from actually Amazon, and this is by Exis, and it's a carbon fiber bipods, and I only paid $26 for it. And I thought I might be a little disappointed with the cheaper one, but actually I'm not disappointed, and they both seems to be holding up the the weight pretty well and pretty sturdy. Now, if you've seen my previous rifle reviews on this both rifle, which is one is Leaf Armor's AR-10 6.5 creedmoor, and the one behind it is Thompson Center Compass 6.5 creedmoor. Now, they could both half-inch at 100 yard on the bench rest, so they're both very accurate rifles. But I will be shooting them with the bipods from the bench rest and the sitting position and the prone position, and see which one really works for me. Now, this flyer came with a Harris bipod, and I tried the prone position in my house with this bipod, and this was just way too high for me, and it wasn't stable at all. It had a lot of movement, and I tried this kind of sitting position as they recommended, and that wasn't very stable either. It was way too shaky. I was getting too much movement. And I tried that as well. That didn't work out too well for me. So, in my living room, I played with it for a little while, tried to see what gave me the most stability. And I always share some of the stuff that worked well for me. Shooting it from a bench rest is practically the same thing as shooting it from a sandbag or gun rest. So I wasn't too concerned about that. But when I was trying different things in prone position, one thing that I found most stable for me was that having your four fingers on your bicep and making the little V between your thumb and the index finger. Just hold it right there. Just put it like that and put the gun stock resting right on the V. And now, one thing that I realized is that if I tried to hold it tight against my shoulder, I noticed that there was a lot of movements. But once I just let it sit on my V and just let it rest there, there was minimum movements, and I feel very comfortable. And this being 6.5 creedmoor, I'm not really concerned about the recoil. Now, I tried different position in sitting, and it proved to be more difficult than I thought. I tried what the Harris bipod, the flyer was showing, which was this kind of position, and my legs being so shaky, I had a lot of movement, so that didn't work for me. I tried half kneeling like this, and this here doesn't have any support, so that tend to have a lot of movements. And I tried different things, and I found out this works really well for me. Having your left elbow on your left knee and your right elbow on your right knee, and making putting your hand on your bicep again, and just let it sit there like this. And seeing it through the scope, the movement was very, very minimum. And I could just sit like this for quite a while and not have any movement. So I think this position is gonna work for me. Now, I did put a little notch. I don't know if you can see this or not, but I put a little notch where I feel most comfortable. So, when I'm hunting, I know exactly where I want it and just tighten that up, and it's exactly where I want it. And that will save a lot of time. And, not only the time, but, if you're not comfortable and if you're not sure how to set it, then you tend to panic or rush the shot. So, having this little notch here, I believe will give me the little more confidence and, not get too panicky. I'll be taking 2 shots at 100 on bench rest. Here's the middle, lower target. Oh yeah, that's tight. 잘했다 보자. So now I'm going to be shooting it on a bipod. 800 yards, 2 shots, middle target. It's definitely more wobbly.
That was a mess. 66 was kind of okay. Yeah, people put the left lane and 50, 55.
I don't know, not bad. Second shot with bipod, upper middle target. I'll be using the bipod to shoot 100 yards for Thompson Center. Oh wow, it's almost touching the bullseye. It's the second shot at 100, Thompson Center, and the bipod.
Ceasefire, 2 minutes. 2 minutes of ceasefire and change target.
Wow, that's actually better. This is at 100. This is a Thompson Center, 2-shot group on a bench rest, and that's actually with a bipod. It's even to the same hole, so that's really tight. And this right here, this 2-shot here is 100 with the bench rest with the AR-10 leaf-free armory. And this right here is on the bipod. So far, not too bad. First time shooting off the bipods. On from position, I shoot lower target. Oh wow, bullseye. The second shot. Left lower target. First shot, I hit the bullseye. Oh yeah, I'm getting like half-inch growth. Prone position is definitely.
Do the rotation.
First time shooting, sitting down off the bipod. There's a lot of movement. On top, not bad, but it's not easy. I joked that one, but there was a lot of movement. Okay, this is 100 yards, and that's with Thompson Center on prone position, and that's on sitting position. And this is AR-10 on a sitting position, and that's a prone position. So obviously prone position is much more stable, but when you're sitting and shooting, the lighter rifle seems to be more stable than the heavier rifle. Okay, here are the targets. The bottom target is shooting with a Thompson Center compass. I was shooting Super Performance GMX from Honori, and sitting on a bench rest, I shot a little bit less than a half-inch group. And shooting it off the bipod, I actually shot 1/8 of an inch. So that's half of quarter inch. So I was super happy with that. And on a prone position, I shot a little bit less than a 3/4 of an inch. So happy with it as well. But actually shooting off a sitting position, I actually shot half-inch group. So super happy with that as well. Now the top target's the one that I shot with Leaf Armory AR-10, shooting non-typical from Federal. Now that was my first shot. I knew I'd pull that one. So I went ahead and took a third shot. So if you look at this 2-shot group, we're looking at about 3/8 of an inch, which I'm super happy with. And then one thing that I noticed that shooting a heavier rifle on a bipod, they tend to move more. I thought they'd be more solid, but I was wrong. So, you know, there was more movements. And with this, we're looking at about 7/8 of an inch. So, not too impressed with that, but still okay. You know, it's still under 1 inch. Now, actually on a prone position, I was shooting a little bit less. Here we go. It's about 3/8 of an inch, less than a half-inch group. So I was happy with that as well. But shooting on a sitting position, because it was moving so much with a heavier rifle, I actually shot 3 inch and 3/4 of an inch. So that actually pretty sucked. Now, lesson learned from here is that shooting prone position, sitting position, long range hunting shouldn't be a problem as long as you don't have the heavy rifle sitting on a thin bipod. So I actually feel pretty confident shooting off the bipods, and I think I'll be ready for the hunting at the Wyoming. Okay, here's something interesting that I realized shooting with bipod is that shooting a heavier rifle like this one, weighs with everything is 12 pounds and 7 ounces. This is much stable shooting off the sandbag or the rifle rest. But shooting it off the thin bipod, being a heavier rifle, it actually created more movement, and it wasn't easy at all. So, shooting off the bipod, shooting a lighter rifle has less movement for me. So that's something that I didn't expect. And lastly, like always, thank God for what you have. Enjoy your life with what you got, but mostly stay safe. And try some new stuff. It's fun.